On August 17th, 2019, Portland, Oregon had another protest, right versus left, in another epic battle royale where everybody could come and cheerlead for their team on the internet and argue over who's right. Well, one of the exchanges between right and left was a fight around this school bus here. I'm not going to talk about who was right and who was wrong and who was defending themselves and who's the victim. I'm just going to talk about who was actually on the school bus. If you look really closely, you can see that these guys are wearing t-shirts with a shield and an American flag motif that says the American Guard. The American Guard is the rebranding of another organization called the Sons of Odin. We'll talk about the Sons of Odin in just a moment, but before that, I have to set correct a false narrative that's being perpetuated on the internet. Joe Biggs and the Proud Boys and his ilk didn't come to Portland and have a peaceful march and then leave voluntarily. What actually happened was Portland Police Bureau and their allies controlled their movements to the nth degree. They only allowed the Proud Boys and their ilk to cross the bridge from the opposite side of downtown and only allowed them to walk back and forth on the waterfront. They wouldn't allow them access to Portland city streets. I have never seen that many cops on the streets of Portland, and I've been filming protests there since 2008. Portland Police Bureau had an unprecedented amount of mutual aid from other municipalities around the state. It was really quite shocking, actually. So after the Proud Boys got bored because they weren't allowed to fight with Antifa, they went back across the river to Vancouver to have a barbecue. What you're looking at now is them crossing back across the river and meeting with these nice folks. I'm going to pause the video right here and point out this guy with the American flag mask over his face, wearing the armor on his arms and the hard-knuckle gloves. Check out the shield on his chest with the crossed meat cleavers, and it says the American Guard. The crossed meat cleavers are a throwback to the film Gangs of New York. It's about the character Bill the Butcher. To give you an idea of the kind of ideology that would create this kind of iconography. So let's see who else is there, shall we? What you're looking at is one of the chairmen of the Proud Boys, Enrique Tarrio, shaking hands with a Mr. Brian James. Brian James has actually founded dozens of small chapters of neo-Nazi organizations in America. Good old clean American fun, right? Here's a picture of Brian James posing with some of his neo-Nazi buddies back in the 90s. At this point, I'd like to present the Proud Boys with one of two options. Either distance yourself from this racist sack of shit, or admit the fact that fascism is evolving in this country. I kind of see neo-fascism and these extreme nationalistic movements starting to become more pluralistic and allow people from other races into their culture. What I highly suspect is going on is these neo-Nazi groups, like Mr. James there taking his little selfie with himself there with Enrique, and some Proud Boys in the background, they're becoming more mainstream. You see, that's what these neo-Nazi groups have wanted ever since the 80s and into the 90s and even into the beginning of the 2000s, is to figure out how to make themselves mainstream. You ever heard the expression, the enemy of my enemy is my friend? After Antifa started having these conflicts with mainstream conservatism, these neo-Nazi groups have started to rebrand themselves as patriotic, as being part of the Patriot movement. That's why they're having their logos changed to these adorable little shields with American flag motifs with the crossed meat cleavers, representative of Bill the Butcher from the movie Gangs of New York. It's all marketing. So you can either distance yourself from this neo-fascist fuck, or admit the fact that you guys are good with this kind of evolution of right-wing culture. So check out the link I've placed beneath this video to give you guys a starting point to start doing your own research into this sack of human garbage, Brian James. Thanks for watching, people.